In this video, I discuss why retirement is harder than you think unless you follow a few rules that retirement experts keep coming back to. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
Most people think that the hard part of retirement is saving enough money, but talk to a retiree who's a few years in and they will tell you the hard part is learning how to live. And the truth is, retirement is hard when a few basic rules are ignored. And many people, maybe even most people, don't discover these rules until long after they've retired. A Kiplinger article published just 3 days ago did something interesting. They asked a diverse group of 35 top financial experts, including acclaimed investors, advisors, money managers, economists, and other retirement specialists, to share their very best advice with readers. The question was simple. Of all the recommendations about money you've been given or received, what are the most meaningful and impactful tips you would pass along? What was interesting was that the answers weren't complicated investment formulas or rules of thumb. Instead, they kept coming back with the same practical rules again and again. And if you think the number one rule was about money, that would be a good guess, but it would be incorrect. Most people would think that the first rule would be about how much to save, investing, or taxes. But the fact is, the first rule was about happiness. Social experiences have the highest correlation with retirement happiness. Research in retirement psychology consistently shows that the spending category most closely tied to life satisfaction is social spending. This includes things like meals with friends, or travel with family, or hobbies with others. Shared experiences were the key. These activities create memories and maintain relationships, which are strongly correlated to satisfaction in retirement. In fact, many retirees optimize for the wrong goal. After decades of saving, when they go into retirement, they still have that mindset, and that is to keep their account balances growing. And the problem, of course, is that retirement is no longer about accumulation. It's not the accumulation phase of your life. It's about structurally spending down what you have so that you can optimize the juice of retirement, the good stuff, the things that people really want to get out of retirement. But if people are constantly trying to push their account balances up, well, oftentimes they miss what's right in front of them. Health and happiness spending often reinforce each other. Walking trips, golfing trips, social clubs, volunteering, or hobbies that keep people active all improve physical and mental health. Research shows retirees who stay socially and physically engaged tend to have better cognitive outcomes and longer periods of independent living. Isolation is one of the largest hidden risks in retirement. People often underestimate how important work is for the social component in their lives. When that disappears, some retirees gradually start to become isolated without even knowing it. Investing intentionally in social activities, community groups, or regular gatherings helps replace the structure and interaction that work previously provided. Money is most important when it creates experiences. Material purchases might create a short-term boost, but that fades pretty quickly. A trip with grandchildren, a family reunion, or regular social traditions can become some of the most meaningful uses of retirement savings. Don't just build a retirement plan that grows money. Build one that supports the life that you want to live. Next up, find your purpose in retirement. Work provides structure that suddenly disappears in retirement. For most people, work does far more than provide income. It creates structure. You have places to be, deadlines to meet, people relying on you, and problems to solve. When retirement removes that structure overnight, many retirees experience a surprising sense of disorientation. People who feel useful tend to age better. Research and longevity studies show that people who believe their lives have meaning and that others depend on them tend to experience better physical and mental health outcomes. Purpose has been associated with lower levels of cognitive decline, better cardiovascular health, and overall well-being. Feeling useful appears to be one of the strongest predictors of well-being later in life. And purpose often comes from contribution, not from leisure. Many pre-retirees think that retirement is never-ending leisure. And that gets old pretty quickly. Activities that involve contributions such as mentoring younger people, volunteering, teaching, or building something meaningful provide deeper satisfaction. The best time to build purpose is before retirement ends. Many retirees try to build purpose into their lives after the work ends, and it's much harder. Experts often recommend experimenting with new activities while still working. When retirees enter this stage already engaged in meaningful activities, the transition tends to be smoother and more satisfying. Number 3, build a retirement paycheck. Once people understand how they want to spend their time in retirement, the next step is to determine how to fund it. And this is where many retirees run into their first major difficulty. Predictable income reduces financial anxiety. One of the biggest psychological shifts in retirement is moving from earning income to drawing from savings. When retirees rely solely on withdrawing from investment accounts, every market fluctuation can feel threatening. Regular income sources such as Social Security, pensions, or annuities create a predictable cash flow that replaces the stability of a paycheck. Guaranteed income protects against longevity risk. Longevity risk is the risk that you outlive your cash flow. Unlike a traditional portfolio, income streams such as Social Security or lifetime annuities continue paying regardless of how long someone lives. Covering essential expenses creates an income floor. Many retirement planners create what is called an income floor strategy. The idea is to ensure that essential expenses such as housing, food, utilities, insurance, and healthcare are covered by reliable income sources. Once these necessities are funded by guaranteed income, the rest of the portfolio can be invested, and they provide the flexibility to be used for discretionary spending. Income stability allows portfolios to recover from market downturns. When retirees rely on withdrawals from investment accounts during market declines, they may be forced to sell assets at depressed prices. A retirement paycheck reduces the risk that you need to liquidate assets during a market downturn. This allows the portfolio more time to recover and helps protect the long-term sustainability of retirement savings. Rule 4, Social Security timing. This follows naturally from your retirement paycheck because for most Americans, Social Security is their largest guaranteed income stream. Claiming early permanently reduces the size of your Social Security payment. With Social Security, you can claim early and you get more payments, they're just smaller, or you can claim later and your payments are larger. For example, if your full retirement age is age 67 and you claim at age 62, then your Social Security payment is reduced by about 30%. Conversely, if you wait until age 70, your Social Security payment is 124% of your full retirement age benefit. Also, your Social Security payment is inflation protected. It has the benefit of the annual cost of living adjustment, which is tied directly to the Consumer Price Index. These adjustments help maintain your purchasing power. However, the longer you wait, the larger your starting point is, and along the way, you get both the cost of living adjustment and the increase for waiting to claim Social Security. It's a 1-2 punch. The decision affects married couples differently. For married couples, the primary earner's amount that they receive, it's called the primary insurance amount, is especially important. Rule number 5, think about your taxes before retirement to reduce your taxes in retirement. Let me explain. This rule follows naturally from Social Security and retirement income because once income begins flowing, the next question becomes how much of that income you actually keep after taxes. Traditional retirement accounts create future tax obligations. Most retirement savings in the United States sits in traditional tax-deferred accounts such as a 401k or a traditional IRA. These accounts provide a tax deduction when the contributions are made, but they have a guaranteed tax bill when you take the funds out of the accounts. Required minimum distributions can increase taxable income. For most people, age 73 means that they have to start taking funds from their 401k or their IRA, regardless if they need the funds or not. Taxes can also affect your Social Security payment. Many people believe that their Social Security payment comes tax-free, but for a lot of people, that's just not the case. Depending on total income, up to 85% of Social Security benefits can become taxable. Income from retirement accounts, pensions, and even some investment income can trigger this taxation. Roth accounts, however, provide tax flexibility in retirement. With a Roth account, whether it's your Roth IRA or your Roth 401k, you contribute to that account with after-tax dollars. It grows inside the account with no taxes accruing as the growth occurs, and you take it out tax-free once it's time to take it out. Roth accounts also don't require minimum distributions during the owner's lifetime. So they are a perfect account to set up so that you can reduce or eliminate your RMDs. The years between retirement and age 73 can be a planning window. This is when you can execute Roth conversions, drawing down part of your IRA or your 401k every year and converting that to a Roth. You will have to pay some taxes on the funds that you take out of your 401k or your IRA, in many cases anyway, but this window allows you to take the funds out at a lower tax rate. And when your RMD period arrives, this reduces the amount that actually needs to be pulled out. The next rule cited by the experts is protect against a bad first year of retirement. This rule addresses what's called sequencing risk. Sequencing risk means that the market declines at the wrong time, just when you're starting to draw your funds from your retirement accounts. Early market losses can permanently damage a portfolio. When retirees begin withdrawing from investments, the timing of market returns matters much more than the average return over time. If the market experiences significant losses during the first few years of retirement, the retiree may be required to sell at a discount and therefore have less assets that can grow in the portfolio than they would have in a normal year. Withdrawals during downturns accelerate portfolio decline. During accumulation years, market declines are uncomfortable, but often temporary because investors continue to contribute to their accounts. And in fact, in that instance, they're buying the assets at a lower price. A more conservative allocation can reduce early retirement risk. Many investors enter retirement with portfolios heavily weighted towards stocks because that's the strategy that worked during their working years. However, the early retirement period may require a different balance between growth and stability. Adding more fixed income investments such as bonds or short-term instruments can help reduce volatility during the years when withdrawals begin. Some financial planners recommend having 1 to 2 years of investments in cash or low-risk investments, low volatility investments, such as treasury bills. This reserve can serve as a buffer during market downturns. If the market falls, retirees can draw from the cash reserve rather than selling long-term investments at a depressed price. The next rule, number 7, is long-term care planning. This rule focuses on one of the largest financial and family risks retirees face, but one that many delay thinking about until it's too late. The probability of requiring long-term care in retirement is higher than people think. In fact, the number is 70%. There's a 70% probability that a retiree will require some form of long-term care while they are in retirement. This care may involve assistance with daily activities such as bathing, dressing, meal preparation, or medication management. The need can last months or even years. And the fact is, long-term care can be extremely expensive. Nursing home care often exceeds $100,000 per year for a private room. Medicare provides very limited long-term care protection. Many retirees think that Medicare, because it does cover medical bills very well, also extends to providing great coverage for long-term care. But that's not the case. Medicare primarily covers short-term skilled nursing care following a hospital stay and does not cover most custodial care services. As a result, retirees rely on personal savings or a long-term care policy, and in some cases, family members. Planning ahead means that retirees can consider multiple options. A long-term care policy is expensive, and many people just don't have that kind of money. But something as simple as an HSA account can be used to fund long-term care. The important step is to decide early how long-term care will be handled if and when the need occurs. Rule number 8 from the experts: you have permission to spend, and you should use that permission to spend, within reason, of course. This rule may seem counterintuitive, but it reflects a common psychological challenge retirees face after decades of saving and investing. Many retirees struggle psychologically with spending savings. During working years, financial discipline revolves around saving, investing, and watching account balances grow. Even when withdrawals are planned and sustainable, retirees get nervous, understandably, when they start to see their retirement savings go down. Loss aversion can make retirees overly cautious. Behavioral economists use the term loss aversion to describe the tendency for people to feel losses more strongly than gains. This means that retirees often feel more emotional pain when balances go down than joy when they go up and they're used for things that make their life better. As a result, some retirees underspend and live more cautiously than they need to in retirement. It's also important to note that spending on experiences and material possessions goes down in retirement. In the beginning years of retirement, people spend a lot. And then in the middle years, that spending starts to taper off. And by the time someone is in late stage retirement, spending on discretionary purchases goes down to very little, in fact. Now that's replaced by spending on medical costs, long-term care in many cases, but that is another point that we addressed just a minute ago. Spending declines with age even when assets are high. That is the nature of retirement. People will spend more in early stage retirement and then start to spend less and less on discretionary purchases as retirement goes on. Financial planning is meant to support life, not just preserve assets. Retirement savings exist to fund the life retirees want to live. A well-designed retirement plan should create the confidence that these activities are financially sustainable rather than something retirees feel guilty about pursuing. This final point brings everything together. You didn't spend 30, 40, or 50 years saving for retirement just to create wealth that never gets used. People want to enjoy retirement, and having the right financial plan in place will help you do that. If you like this video, check out that video, The Real Math Behind Claiming Social Security at Age 62. This is Jeff Schmidt, and I will see you in that video right there.